Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my first update for my Pan Those Eyeshadows of 2024. So this is my fourth year doing Pan Those Eyeshadows, I think, which just shows that it's one of my favorite projects. This was originally created by Alexi. She's no longer on YouTube, but she was the original creator, and I will have her link down below. There's also other people doing this project too, and I believe if you aren't new to the panning community, you definitely know this project since before. This year I have lowered my number of eyeshadows in this project down to 4. I usually do 5 for the year, but this time I'm doing 4 just because I'm doing a lot of other eyeshadow projects and I wanted to kind of balance out this project. So I'm doing 4 eyeshadows, and the eyeshadows that I have I select by using Laney's prompts. So I will have Laney down below as well, so you can check her out. She created a prompt list with different prompts for the eyeshadows, and I pick them from those prompts. So that's kind of my rules. I do also have a rule that I have 15 uses of pan. So if I use something 15 times, I can choose to roll it out, or I can keep working on it until I hit pan. That's all the housekeeping. So I'm going to jump into the update. But before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So I'm going to start going through the eyeshadows, and the first one that I have I rolled in for the prompt, a shadow starting with T. So for this prompt I decided to go with one of my Cleon eyeshadows. It is one of their glitter multichromes in the shade Translucency. So this is what it looked like when I first introduced it. You can see I had used it a couple times, but I didn't have any dip or anything in it. But yeah, that is what it looked like when I first introduced this eyeshadow. Since then I have used this one 6 times, and this is where I am with this eyeshadow today. So hopefully you can see here that I do have a little bit of a dip in this eyeshadow, which is really fun, and I definitely can see that I've used it. And again, I have 6 uses on it so far, so it is staying in the project since I don't have any pan, and also I've only used it 6 times. So with this eyeshadow, I foresee myself to keep this in until 15 uses and not pan, because the Cleon eyeshadows are quite difficult to pan on, and I don't think I will get to it in 15 uses. Again, I'm happy that I have a little bit of a dip at the moment. I've been really enjoying this one. I've used it both as in the corner highlight, but mainly as a topper shade, and I really do like it. Today I'm wearing one of the looks for my big fat eyeshadow project, and I really like how this look came out. But you know, if I wasn't doing an exclusive eye look with a palette, I probably would have used this one to top on top because it gives a really nice sparkle, and it's like an icy pink kind of shade. I'm going to swatch it out for you so you can see what it looks like. And here you can see it's swatched out, so you can see that kind of icy shift. So it's like a pink with a icy blue kind of silver reflex going into more of a peach. But yeah, it's a beautiful shade. It's quite easy to wear. So that is the first eyeshadow. The second eyeshadow that I have to talk about also rolled in for a letter prompt, and that was the eyeshadow starting with S. So for this one, I decided to go with an eyeshadow from the Pastel Roses, and this is the shade Starburst. So this is what this one looked like at the introduction. It had a little bit of use, but not too much. So that is where I started off with this shadow. Since then, I used this one 7 times, and this is where I am with this eyeshadow today. So hopefully you can see there in the center that I do have a glimmering little pan. I was able to pan on this eyeshadow, which is very exciting. And it only took 7 uses, as I mentioned. But yeah, I really like this eyeshadow, and it was very easy to reach for as well. It is this beautiful kind of greeny gold kind of shade. You can see it there. I don't know if you can pick up the green shift that much on camera, but it's a beautiful kind of like really vibrant warm green that has like a sandy base. Hopefully you can see it there. And then it goes into like a pink shift. It's super stunning. It is one of the Pastel Roses duochromes, but I would consider it almost like a multichrome because it does have a lot of shifts to it. I use this a lot with my Panda palette, which is my soft glam palette. It worked really well with the tones in there. So I did like a kind of more orangey leaning base eye, and then I topped this on top. And that's kind of how I use it most of the time. And I really love this eyeshadow. It's a stunning one, and I'm really happy to now have pan on it. So this one will be rolling out, which is again super exciting. So that is the second shade. The third eyeshadow that I've been working on comes from a palette this time. It's not a single, but this one is from the Metropolis palette from Natasha Denona, and I rolled this one in for an orange matte. So the shadow that I'm talking about and I've been working on is the shadow Ripe, which looks like this. It's a beautiful bright orange kind of a matte shade. It's, if anything, it has more of a kind of burnt orange undertone, like a rusty kind of shade. And it's super pretty, but it is one of her traditional mattes, which makes it a little bit more firm pressed. But that is where I was when I first introduced it. This is where this eyeshadow is today. So I don't know if you can see any use on it, maybe like a tiny bit, but I have only reached for this one 6 times in the first month of the project. So I'm showing you this as a single because it is magnetic, so I'm taking it out of the palette, but like I said, I have reached for this one 6 times, and I clearly don't have any pan. I don't think I'm going to hit pan on this one before 15 uses. But this one will be staying in the project. It's a really nice shade. Again, I can use this one a lot with my Panda palette. It is quite a bright orange shade, you can see it there, and I haven't really been feeling orange looks that much. Maybe it's because we are in February, and I've been going for more kind of pink tone looks. In January as well, I went for more kind of cool tone looks rather than oranges. But I'm hoping to get more use out of this one next month. Again, this one has 6 uses, like I said, so I need to use it 9 more times to be able to roll it out. Both of the shades so far they're staying in are actually on 6 uses both, so both of these need to be used 9 more times. And I should theoretically be able to do that in a month, but I don't know, I'm doing a lot of eyeshadow projects, we'll just have to see, but this one is staying in for now, so that is the 3rd shade. So the 4th and final shadow that I've been working on comes from Colourpop. And I rolled this one in for A to C roulette. So basically I randomized the letter and I got K. And the shadow that I rolled in is one that is departed from the Dream Street palette, and it's the shade Kaleidoscope. So this is what this one looked like at the introduction. It is this kind of, I feel like when it first came out, I thought it was quite like green leaning, but it's definitely not. It's more of a kind of cool toned champagne shade. So yeah, it looked like this. It had a little bit of use on it when I first introduced it. But this is what this eyeshadow looks like today. So again, you can see that I have managed to hit pan on this one. It took me 13 uses to hit pan on this eyeshadow, and you can see it there in the center. So like I said with this eyeshadow, it took me 13 times to hit pan on it, so almost at 15 threshold, but yeah, I'm really excited to have another pan to share with you. This eyeshadow I used a lot as like an inner corner highlight. I also used it like on my lid a lot. It is quite a light shade, so it worked that way. It has a little bit more of a base, so it wasn't like a perfect inner corner highlight for me, but you can see it down there. Honestly, this isn't really the most reflective shade, and I'm not really impressed with this formula anymore. I don't know if it's because like I found better things, or if that should have just aged, but this is one that I am debating to declutter. I haven't decided if I wanted to do that now, but I am considering decluttering this one. So for now, this one is going to stay in my collection, but overall, I do think this one might be on the shopping block for the future. So there we have those 4 shades. You can see my color story right here. These 2 are staying in, these 2 are rolling out. So I'm going to go ahead and prompt 2 more eyeshadows. So I have tiny decisions here. I have no repeating results, so I can't get the same prompt as last time. We're going to go ahead and roll 2 new prompts and we'll see what I get. First up, a transition shade. Okay, that's going to be relatively easy. Need to figure out which one I want to pull in, but yeah, that is the first eyeshadow. Then the second prompt that I just pressed it, but I got a notification. The second prompt that I'm gonna get is shadow from your least favorite palette. Okay, need to figure out what my least favorite palette is and also what transition shade I want to pull in. And once I have those 2 eyeshadows, I will be right back. So I'm back and I have chosen my new eyeshadows. This is what my color story looks like now. So you can see the shades right there, but let me talk you through what I rolled in for these 2. So for transition shade, I knew that I wanted to go for something a bit more cool tone because I am panning the Soft Glam palette, like I said, as my Panda palette. So I wanted to go for a cool tone transition because I have more warm tone transitions in that palette. And the eyeshadow palette that I decided to go with for that was actually the Going Coconuts palette from Colourpop. And the shade that I rolled in is the shade Colada, which is the cooler tone transition in the palette, which is this one right here. So that is my starting point. It has a little bit of use, but nothing like significant. But I think that's going to be a really nice eyeshadow to work on. So that is it right there. It also means that I now have 2 mattes in this project, which is fine. I do have a rule that I want minimum 1 matte at any point in time, but 2 is also fine. So yeah, that is the shade right there, and it is the first one that I'm introducing. For the second prompt, I roll an eyeshadow from my least favorite eyeshadow palette, and I honestly didn't really know what eyeshadow palette to pick for that, because I always used to have the Book of Magic palette as like my least favorite palette, but I have since then depot a couple shades from that and lightly clutter it. So I guess technically I could use one of the depotted shades, but it's not really a palette anymore, so I didn't want to do that. So what I decided to go with, I actually couldn't really pick what my least favorite eyeshadow palette was. So how I decided on the palette was, I actually went for my lowest ranked palette from my Big Fat Eyeshadow project. So if you don't know, I'm doing that project where I'm ranking all of my eyeshadow palettes. I'm ranking in different categories. You can check out that video if you want to see how I rank things. But just for simplicity's sake, I decided to go with the palette that has the lowest ranking out of the palettes that I've used so far, which is not that many. Obviously, we're still in February. But the palette that I ended up picking was the Stone Vibes palette from Urban Decay. So this one was actually my Product Level Up Level 1 palette, but I'm happy to keep working on it. I really liked the eyeshadow that I worked on last time in that project to hit pan on, and it was also relatively easy to hit pan on the shadow that I worked on in that project, and I feel like the eyeshadow that I rolled in now has a similar formula. So the eyeshadow that I decided to go with is the shade Vibes, which is the shadow right here. So this is the one that I hit pan on in my Product Level Up. But this one here, Vibes, is the one that I'm rolling in now. And as you can see, I already have a little bit of a dip in its eyeshadow, and hopefully it shouldn't take too long to hit pan on. So I reckon that could be an eyeshadow that I have out almost next time. And as you can see, that is it right there. It's a beautiful kind of everyday shade. It works really well with the transition that I rolled in. Like these three here worked really nicely together, I feel like, if you take away that orange shade. But yeah, I think it's going to be a nice everyday eyeshadow. And again, I should be able to roll that out relatively quickly. So that is my 4 new eyeshadows. This is my new color story, and these are the 2 shadows that I'm rolling out. I'm really, really happy with how this looks, and goals for next month would be, I think, to definitely have out this one. I told you I think I should be able to pan on this one. I'm hoping to have out the shade from Cleona as well. I think I should be able to do that. And then maybe the orange as well. We'll see how I go with the orange, if I feel those kind of looks. But I feel like at least these 2 should be out. So have at least 2 eyeshadows out next month as well would be my goal. The more the better, obviously, but hopefully I can hit my goal on those 2. So that is going to be it for today. I really, really hope you guys are having an amazing day wherever you are. Give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and if you like this project. I think a lot of you guys do. I love watching this project still to this day. But yeah, again, I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.